the people that watch this show, you're men 18 to 49. That's who you are, according to YouTube anyways. And I'm curious what your thoughts are. Like, is Pat McAfee the face of sports talk in this country? Because I think I could make a pretty strong argument that he is. I think if you look at the arc of sports talk, and really it started with sports talk radio.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would tell you that sports talk radio lived in New York City at WFAN for a lot of years. I think WFAN is not what it used to be. I look at ESPN radio, and I think ESPN radio is eating itself, unfortunately. I just think the product has suffered so much. And I think through the pandemic, I think sports radio really suffered. But what came out of that was a boom in podcasting and a boom in streaming sports talk, right? A la Pat McAfee, the Monty Show, frankly. And I think what you're really seeing now is you're looking at a situation where a guy like Pat McAfee is energetic. I think more people know him for WWE than they do that he was a kicker for the Colts. Honest to goodness.
Yeah.
I think that there is an entire young demo that has no idea that Pat McAfee walked away from an NFL contract at the top of his talent. I think most people don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't think and I know more about Pat than most people, but if you look at his arc, I don't think most people realize he was at ESPN, left ESPN. I think he went to DAZN. He went to DAZN, Barstool at one point. Pat's bumped around. Pat's not the easiest guy to put a lasso on and keep in the pen, right?
Yeah.
But now Pat's built his own thing, and he appears on his show shirtless, and he wears tank tops every day, and they drink beer on the show, and they play pickleball. But that today, I think, is the face of sports talk. It's not Jim Rome anymore.
No.
It's not. It's not like I haven't listened to Colin Cowherd in, dude, it's got to be 6-8 months now.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch Pat McAfee or I listen to Jim Rome. Like, Jim Rome's on vacation this week. I'm not listening.
No.
I'm watching Pat McAfee full time. But I think the other issue here is that local radio across the country has become such it's been infested by just lazy ass shitpot radio that so many people are looking for alternatives. And I think that started with podcasts, and now I think streaming YouTube shows have just exploded.
Yeah, I mean, I think the visual element just adds another dynamic. I think it allows, it creates a connection that you can't have over the radio, in my opinion. And I think that I would agree with that. I think whether it's in Salt Lake, Dallas, Seattle, wherever, sports talk in the big picture, with some exceptions, frankly, is just pretty much crap right now. I mean, there's no real way around that. And I think that what happens is, and we see this a lot in the professional setting, people get comfortable, they don't take their job seriously anymore, so they just kind of show up and don't have a plan of what they want to talk about and wind up, dropping F-bombs on the radio or doing dumb things or whatever. Things happen, but that's why those things happen, because you think you can just turn on the mic.
But look at this situation with Bob Huggins in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Right? You look at the fact that Bob Huggins went on a radio show in Cincinnati, dropped some gay slurs, not one, two, and then that doesn't even account for the fact that he slurred Catholics as well, right? And it's because the host, who is a legendary host, I think he's been there almost 40 years or something, he and Bob Huggins were friends when Huggy was at Cincinnati. So he called him out of the blue, and Bob Huggins went on about just the most awful rant about the LGBT community.
Right.
But what happened there? You've got a guy who's been there 40-something years. Nobody's telling him when to scratch his ass. Nobody's coaching him. Nobody's saying, hey, we don't call guests on the fly and surprise them. Right? No, we're not doing that. By the way, did anybody choose to hit the dump button when Bob Huggins said that? So was your producer trained? Do you have a dump button in that studio? There's 1,001 questions I could ask about that. But you know what it all is? It's all a total lack of professionalism.
Yes.
Because you don't operate that way. You don't say those things. You don't slur Catholics and slur the LGBT community. to which, by the way, Bob Huggins will serve almost no penalty. He's been fined $1 million, and he's going to miss 3 games to start the basketball season. Like, it's
he's
crazy.
going to do some classes.
But my point is,
yeah,
there is a lack of professionalism in sports talk radio.
Yeah.
And I think radio in general. And I think that's why, guys like us have been able to thrive. We're doing 500,000 views a month on YouTube. And while that's not a lot, I understand we're just the small little Monty program. Hey, dude, it's paying the bills. And it's moving, it's moving people. Like Maury Alvarez, the great Floridian, who says ESPN is like, hey, Pac, you should merge with the Big 12. Nah, we'll see. We will see. Lowball them so they break up and go to the Big 12 anyway.
Yeah.
I buy in.
Much spot on.
And to Maury's point, I buy into the idea that the folks at the good old 4-letter network, I don't think that they are actively working to blow up the Pac-12. They're just not actively working to help it survive.
Yeah, they have no incentive to.
Because they already own the rights in the Big 12, and I think they would be just fine if everybody went to the Big 12.
Yeah.
Because what Maury is hinting at there is what we exclusively reported is that the Big 12 and the Pac-12 were strongly pushed to talk about merging by Fox and ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pac-12 said, nah, we're good. Thanks, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, problem. Hey, look at that. Mayor McCluskey and the Hizzy 2 days in a row. He says, Victor's the way, McCluskey.
Victor's the way.
Love it. Love it. Connor Johnson, we don't know the value yet. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. No doubt at all. Let's see. Who else? David Sebesta. And the costs are relatively low, not a huge support staff.
He's talking about Pat, I think.
Well, Pat's got a huge support staff. I would say that. Moff Prof says, I've never watched the Pat McAfee show. You probably should.
Yeah, I think, so this conversation around professionalism in sports talk, like I think Pat blends that line a lot. And I think that burns me out a little bit. Like he has a great show. It's very unique. He's, because of his time in the NFL, he has connections like Aaron Rodgers, which ultimately is what has propelled him.
And there are some people saying that he's paying Aaron Rodgers $500,000 a season to go on his show every Tuesday.
Yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, the guy's got money. I mean, that's just is what it is. That's business, right? I mean, you got to have money to do things, but I'm a big proponent of the opinion that Pat McAfee's show isn't great because they do great sports talk. Pat McAfee's show is great because they have guests, and it's such a different product that you're not going to get anywhere else that it compels you to stay. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And by the way, I also think it needs to be said that if he does, in fact, go to ESPN, this would be the first real dip your toe in the water by a major network to pick up someone who's gone the YouTube route. And I think that's really interesting to think about.
Yeah, it is. Spangler, what's up, my guy? Pat McAfee's on the clock. He's going to make as much money as he can as quickly as he can. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree, Tanner. Says research institutions, that's the PAC's value. Hey, guys, they're all research institutions. Totally worth the money. I think that's a good point, Tanner. Totally think that's a good point. Victor's the way, McCluskey. When I think research institution, my first school of choice, Arizona State. Research in the Honeys on Mill Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely right. Ute softball fan says YouTube should not be telling me who I am. Well, should not be telling me who I am. Well, probably they shouldn't. Spangler says Mike and the Mad Dog. Yeah, remember Mike and the Mad Dog back in the day?
And that, that's the real shame about it, too, because I feel like not even 20 years ago, sports talk was so healthy.
Yeah. Moth Prof, who, Pat, really never heard of him. Oh, come on. I think everybody's heard of Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Simon 2077. Brock Heward said, quote, I got to mingle with coaches and ADs and the commissioner, George Kliavkoff, and then we did the same the next night with the Big 12, and I'll tell you, you could not have had two different environments. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think there is real momentum. Without a doubt. Tanner Plummer, it's hard for me to like Pat McAfee. His whole vibe just rubs me the wrong way. A lot of people say that.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think he's not for everyone, but I think that's every show. I
guarantee you we rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, and
that's why we closed our massage parlor.
Yeah, we had to end our business with good old Bob Kraft, but ultimately, I think that look, Pat does good stuff.
You're not a big fan of Pat McAfee.
I'm not some huge fanboy of Pat. I think that Pat wouldn't be where he is without football, right?
Correct.
At that same time, though, he deserves a lot of credit for doing what he did in football and getting to this point. And I don't care that he has the ability to pay Aaron Rodgers, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. That's great, man. That's great. I wish I had that ability, honestly. And we've looked into it. We've looked at Evan Joe Burrow on the show. We've looked at Dak. We've looked at these guys. And yeah, some of them do cost that much. It's not a secret. And I think that, Pat McAfee, again, just because he's younger, he understands the power of video. And we would be millionaires if we got 25 cents for every time someone's like, well, how do you YouTube or how do you use video?
Oh my God.
It's absolutely incredible to me how few people understand it.
Yep. Salgman said Pat sucked as a punter. He did not. Wasn't he all pro? I think Pat McAfee was an all pro.
Yeah.
He did not suck as a punter. He did not. Renee Roca says, I heard he was on wrestling. I know nothing about Pat McAfee. Crazy. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, though. Pat has a massive listenership, and most people in the country probably have no idea what he does.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much of an untapped market there is. Delaric, Pat had at least 3-4 more years in the NFL if he wanted to. Absolutely. He walked away from a contract in the NFL. So he did not suck as a punter. Ruff's official says he listens to the Dan Patrick Show. Absolutely. Dan's a legend. But I just think Dan is constantly in like fifth gear. He is constantly like just cruising.
Yeah, I think
he's just cruising, man.
I think Dan Patrick's the pinnacle of professionalism in sports talk radio. I think guys who I think are the ultimate professionals, Dan Patrick leads the way in that. And I think that he's been a phenomenal teacher. There's no doubt that he's got a great program that you can get into to learn how to do sports talk. But I just think, ultimately Dan Patrick has aged out. Jim Rome has aged out. Now, that said, I still like to get some Jim Rome in. I like his style. I like him because he has fun.
Yeah, but when you listen to Dan Patrick, you absolutely need some buckshot from Bucked Up.
Well, he needs some buckshot.
Because Dan will put you to sleep. Look at that, my friends. Buckshot from Bucked Up, the official energy partner of the Monty Show. I'm telling you, this is the way, friends. I know Victor's the way.
Victor's the way.
No, he's not. Buckshot's the way. Let's crack them open. I have got the America Rocket Pop. Is my flavor today. Jake is drinking the watermelon. Water ice. Yes, sir. Absolutely right. Bucked Up, Buckshot. That's not my favorite flavor. It's decent. Watermelon is so good. I'm telling you. Get the 6 free samples in the description below. A Buckshot, clean, long-lasting energy. We take it about this time every day. It powers us through the show. The thing I love about Bucked Up, they're just good local entrepreneurs. Ryan Gardner is the CEO of the year here in the great state of Utah. Like, the guy just gets it. Their products work. They're affordable. They're clean energy. Get to buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty to save 20% at checkout, by the way. But go right now and get 6 free samples of Buckshot in the description below. On this show, you're going to see that there is a link for 6 free Buckshots. Hook it up. Go get it. Buckshot, the best high-powered energy shot in the business. Of course, you could always go to a Bucked Up store all across Utah. I shop at, I've been to Orem. South Jordan's down the street from the crib.
Yeah.
All the way up to Farmington Station, all the way down to St. George. It's Bucked Up. Let's see. Don in Kansas says, Pat was a Big 12 guy back in college. West Virginia. I said I'd never sing on the show again. Salty Victor's the way.
Salty Victor's the way.
Victor's the way.
Is that what we're doing now? Is that why Australians are kickers, Tanner? Could be. Brady Cook says, hit the like button, casuals. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Hit the like button. We've had 1,500 views today already, and we only have, what is that? 93 likes. Let's get to 100.
Be better. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's see. I believe Zesty's Retroing Games has given us a $2 tip to say once a deal gets out, how fast do moves happen after? I think
quickly.
I think we're in a window now, as it's been described to me. I've been told that they're simply trying to understand the best deal possible. And I still maintain by June 1st that I would be shocked if we didn't have movement.
Yeah.
And I think that the moment that these schools figure out a grant of rights is not going to happen with the Pac-12, they're going to roll. If you see a grant of rights, it's over. They're all staying together. Because, again, I'm telling you, and I know the Pac-12 is dead. They're dying. It's over.
Pac-12 ain't on.
It's over. Truck stop conference. I get it, right? But there's not a school in this conference that's looking forward to leaving.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And you can celebrate and you can prematurely shoot your wad off about the Pac-12's dead. Come on already. Just get it over with. Throw them in the hole. Kick some dirt on top of it.
Right.
I've seen Casino. I know how it's done.
Right.
Like, hey, dude, that's cool. But they're not dead yet. Yeah. And I truly don't believe that they are close to being dead.
Yeah.
I really don't. Tanner Plummer. Wait, did Monty just say this is the way? Is he a Mandalorian? No.
Victor's the way.
No. Taylor, any Scott Van Pelt fans out there? Yes, SVP is one of the nicest people I've ever dealt with.
Legend.
Back in the day when I was a booking producer for the Jim Rome Show, like back in 99, 2000-ish, Scott Van Pelt was easily the nicest guy to deal with.
Yeah.
Easily. And having come across him a few times when I worked at the great four-letter network known as ESPN. Not that you give a shit about my resume, but when I worked at ESPN, SVP was a really good dude to work with.
Yeah.
So I think he's phenomenal. Yes, I am huge. LV Seminole says, I can't catch the Pat shows live, but I could catch his clips. Found you two that same way as well. Shows the value of hosting on YouTube. Now I can catch you live. Well, LV Seminole, we appreciate you being here, dude.
Yeah, well, and I think that that's a great point. Like, I think that that's the beauty of YouTube. It's 24/7, and I think, people, I feel like right now there's still this lack of understanding that we're live 3 to 6 Mountain every day, but ultimately it's on YouTube 24/7.
But what do people say to us all the time, Jake?
Like, you guys only have 17,000 subs. You can't have 500,000 views.
People have no idea how YouTube works.
Stupid-ass question.
They're like, hey, you have 500 people watching your show. Where do you get 500,000, prick?
And it's like, dude, you have no idea how YouTube works. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I cannot tell you, again, we talk about YouTube every day. Like not that you care, but we consult major brands on how to build their YouTube channels.
Right.
And they don't listen because they don't understand it. And then you're like, hey, X, Y, Z equals your mom and your dad, and that's how you got here.
Cock.
And they're like, oh, we should probably do that.
Oh.
Like you explain it to them, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God. Wait, this lives on YouTube forever? When I say
name, image, and likeness.
When I say buckedup.com, that's on YouTube forever?
Oh.
Yeah, it is. People don't get it. So I can tell you, like, YouTube tells you how many people every minute watch a video on your channel.
Yeah.
Radio doesn't know how many people every day listen to it. And one of the famous stories on this show is we started this show years ago. And let's call it 3 years ago when we came back to Utah with the idea of becoming the biggest sports talk show in Utah.
Yeah.
That was our stated goal by going to YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And we started with what?
100.
Was it 100?
100 and do you not remember the story? I believe it was 137 subscribers
Yeah.
about a year and a half ago.
I haven't thought about that in a minute.
We had 100. We could not monetize because we didn't have 1,000 subscribers.
That's right.
And I remember Gabe Ledley, like Lopes fan Gabe, evangelizing for the channel. And when we moved off of Twitter and moved to YouTube
Periscope.
full time, yeah, he was like, hey, I watched this show and they do these things. Like, hey, and then we started watching Joe Rogan because Joe at the time had a massive YouTube channel, still does. Hey, he's doing it this way. And so, of course, because nobody reinvents the wheel,
Yeah.
we started doing it that way. And we had 137 subscribers.
Yeah.
And now we're just at about 17,000. So we're still a small channel, subscriber-wise. We're at 16,885 subscribers. So
Right.
we're 115 away from 17,000.
Hey, by the way, click subscribe. Thanks.
Yeah, if you're not, hit subscribe. And the like button, because that helps us get subscribers.
Thanks.
But our goal was to become the largest sports talk show. So one thing leads to another. We're talking to a major client, and they have all of the numbers for all of the media outlets. And we said to this person, hey, well, we'd like to do business with you guys because we want to become the largest sports talk show in Utah. And this person said to us, you are, wait a minute. You are the largest sports talk show in Utah, I thought. And I was like, well, no, we're working towards that. And she started reading us numbers like, well, your competitor, you guys are on in the morning. And at the time we were doing morning drive. And she started telling me like all of the numbers. And she's like, yeah, you guys are far and away the biggest sports talk show in the morning. And she's like, well, let me look at the afternoon. And she's like, yeah, she straight up said, nobody really listens to the radio in the afternoon here, but like, and that's how this stuff happens. Like,
Yeah.
That's how this stuff happens. So when people say, well, you guys are not, okay. Well, you tell the ad agencies that we're not the largest sports talk show in Utah with 500,000 views a month. And nationally now, like all of Texas, all of California, all of Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Idaho, like that's the greatness of YouTube. I tell you that to say that's the greatness of YouTube.
Yeah, and I think I still maintain, dude, like nobody ever talks about it. There was a stat, I'll find it tonight maybe. It's like 6 billion YouTube accounts or some ridiculous number.
Yep.
Of YouTube accounts. And obviously all those are not active, but I mean, just the idea that it's that many is insane. I mean, it's why, James Knight or any of the folks in the Philippines are like, that's the other thing that I love about YouTube, and that's why, frankly, that's why I think Pat McAfee's had the success he's had. I mean, I look at some of these some of the other shows that you guys are commenting about, like the Dan Patrick Show or Jim Rome or any of the other names, even Colin Cowherd. I mean, you see these guys starting to embrace YouTube, and it's like, dude, like it's an untapped market, bro, and that's why I think YouTube is just so prolific now and will continue to grow.
Hey, look at Chad Masters. So I'm old. I used to listen to Scott Farrell on the bench.
But, okay, Scott's a
On
great
KMBR.
example, though. Like, Scott Farrell, in my opinion, never was like, Dan Patrick, Jim Rome level, but Scott's a legend in the radio game,
Right,
man.
but because he's been controversial, and I knew Scott from Sports Channel in Chicago when he worked at KMBR 680.
Yes.
And he would play hockey in his studio, and like he was one of the first guys to do video and do a TV show. And now Scott is at CBS Sports Radio and kicking ass. But what has Scott done? Scott's gone almost exclusively gambling on his show. So guys matriculate. Like I can tell you, I just used the word matriculate.
Right.
I can tell you, like if I go back, Jim Rome was absolutely one of the most impressive people on my career. If you think about sports, there was a guy named Lance McAllister, who I think now is in Cincinnati, who was on ESPN 1000 in Chicago, or Mike North on The Score in Chicago, who had a tremendous impact on my career. Like I think about all these guys, and sports talk radio has shaped so much of my life. So to hear you, Chad Masters, talk about Scott Farrell, I think is phenomenal.
How much, I'd be curious too in the comments section, how much the video portion of YouTube, improved your experience. Like if if YouTube wasn't video, would you be on YouTube, right? Like, is video that much of a differentiator? Because I think it is. I think being able to see and hear is crucial.
Yeah, I think that's exciting. Do you guys, I mean, is video the difference maker for you guys? I'm curious about that as well. Arlington Bears, what's up, my guy? Good to see you,
up,
Chris
bro?
Karn. Good to see you, my friend. Dustin Osterman, the Monty Show gets me bricked up.
It gets me
So wait,
bricked up.
Are you bricked up or are you begging for the bricked up drop?
I'm so bricked up right now.
And whose fault is it that drop is on this show?
Please.
This guy.
Please.
Awesome. Victor's the way says, what's up, Arlington Bears? Boy, look at you guys getting after it. Travis Bird. There's Victor's the way. I believe you guys are one of the big, best things that's ever happened to me. Real talk. Oh, I appreciate
Victor's
you.
the way.
Appreciate you,
Appreciate you,
Big
bro.
Daddy Magic. Greg Romano says, listening to Monty beats listening to Gordon Monson every day. I he's
think-
just aged out.
Yeah,
Right?
and I think we need to be one thing I don't love about the sports talk radio conversation when it comes to Salt Lake particularly is like Gordon Monson is a legend in Salt Lake. He is a name. There's no question about it. But yeah, he has aged out, and that's okay. That's a natural progression in radio. It's not like that makes somebody a bad person or like.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we do to people, and it's like, dude, like, bro had a nice career. Now it's time to move on. Now it's time for the next person to come up.
Mark Hale says, I like the David Stein show, a celebration of life through sports. I used to work with David at Sporting News Radio. Sporting News Radio. Huge golf fan. Spangler, if Monty and Jake invited Mia Khalifa on, she'd show up. She's fashion's it girl right now. We tried to get Mia Khalifa on at the shitty radio station in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, this radio station sucks. We almost got her to come on the show. Mark Hale says, despite what you look like, yes, video makes a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Bro, did you just call us fat, bro?
He did. By the way, I lost 2 more pounds. So not for long. YouTube is way better because I can watch, listen, and easily switch between different websites.
Yeah.
Tanner Plummer, Stephen A. Smith is my ASMR. When I listen to one of his rants while I lay in bed, I fall asleep in a heartbeat. Wow, that was going in a long different place. Moth Prof, the Monty face is why we are here. Okay, well, I appreciate that. Brad M. Yes, video makes a big difference.
I agree.
Arlington Bears says, I'm Les Grobstein old school. Oh, that hurt me so much when he passed. Les Grobstein is a Chicago sports radio icon, like just a legend, and he passed away. And it sucks because overnight radio is not the same. By the way, Chris Karn, Superdog in Chicago, 75 years old today.
Yeah, dude.
75
Legend.
years old. The Joint. The Joint. Milwaukee Avenue in Chicago,
The
Superdog.
diamonds have always been one of my favorite things about Superdog.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
the way it looks, the motif of it is just
And
amazing.
the diamonds are on the box. Like
Yes.
the hot dog's the best in the world. Chris, you always have me reminiscing. Brady Cook says, yeah, it's better to have video. John Llewellyn says video is huge. Jaron
Yeah.
Eccles, what's up, Jaron Eccles? Good to see you, dude. I would rather watch a video live stream on YouTube than just a voice on Spotify. It feels more personal and real.
yeah.
Oh, hello, Jaron.
They're definitely real.
That was awkward as hell. Oh, Jaron.
No.
Jaron. I don't know. Jaron. Renee Roca says Tarrant County, Arlington Cowboys. That's right. Victor's the way McCluskey says video
Victor's
now.
the way.
Video now is a difference maker now that I don't have to stare at that sad excuse for a mascot, aka Swoop, on the shelf on your back wall. It's funny. I worked out with Mrs. Monty this morning in the
Is
old
that what
studio.
we're calling it now?
What?
You worked out with Mrs. Monty?
Hey, can't say
What
those
you
things on
bet?
the show. Anyway, I was on the old Peloton treadmill this morning, and what's sitting on my now empty desk in the old Monty dungeon? Swoop, the bird, is lonely on the desk.
How much do you reminisce when you go down in the basement, dude?
You know what?
A
We
lot
should
of
talk
bread
about
made
working
down
out
there.
at home versus working out in the. Yeah.
The
Oh
yum.
man, I made millions in that basement. Tanner Plummer, Brad Rock, anyone? Oh, I love the Rock Monster. Brad Rock is one of the genuinely nicest people in the world. Christopher Shannon says that's the real thing. These other radio people are aging out.
Yeah,
it is.
dude, it is. And I think that, the real shame in it, my opinion, has always been they don't need to age out. It's that they don't change their style at all. Like, you can't change your voice, but you can change the type of show you do. It doesn't always have to be this slow and methodical and just boring ass show.
Jared.
Yeah, like it's just I'm just like, dude, like, bro, at some point you're gonna figure out that not everybody cares about, CIA, security level 5 X's and O's on football, bro. Like, at some point we want to just have a surface level conversation.
Don't get me started on local radio. Don't get me started on it because I can't do it. I was so bricked up over a taco grande pizza, no olives.
Hi, I'm Kylie, and I make fresh, delicious Papa Murphy's pizza.
Hi, I'm Zach, and I make the Papa Murphy's pizza.
Sure, that's take and bake. We built it with the freshest ingredients. You bake it fresh in your oven.
By you mean me, so technically, I make the pizza.
Super good pizza, Kylie.
Oh, Kylie, so good.
Right now, enjoy big-time taco flavors on a pizza with the limited-time Taco Grande. Papa Murphy's, change the way you pizza.